Radha's actual pulsation starts from the Aham poetry of the Sangam era. So that's just two centuries after. No, I'm not correcting, I'm just amplifying because I'll come to that point. So Radha as a person does not find specific mention, but the Aham poetry creates that atmosphere of love, jointness, and sometimes borders on to eroticism in a manner that would shock North India. But it was there. And then we move fast forward to see when does Krishna get embodied in a very corporeal form. Krishna's embodiment happens in the 4th century. All scholars more or less come down, which is the final version of Mahabharata, the main accepted version of the Bhagavad Gita, and also the century of Harivamsa. So Krishna as a scholar and as a strategist, a diplomat, a philosopher, is enshrined by the 4th century AD. They came across a second version of Krishna that would actually endear him to the masses as we move along, and that is Balakrishna. Balakrishna would start appearing from the Harivamsa, has no mention in Mahabharata and Gita. Balakrishna would bring in Vatsalya, one of the greatest attractions that Krishna would have in his child form. Many of you may be amazed to know that the Bhagavad Puran was not composed in North India. It was composed in Tamil Nadu, present Tamil country. The Bhagavad Puran takes off from this tradition, and we can find a character called Nappinai. Nappinai is still a common name in Tamil Nadu, a favored milkmaid. We have come very close, and as Kapilaji rightly said, the only spasht word we get is Aradhita. So Aradhita has often been said to be the roots of Radha, and we take it like this. But then there are 2-3 controversial passages that come in now. In the 6th century, the first time we find Hala's Gatha Saptasati, mentioning Hala's Gatha Saptasati or Gatha Saptasai of Maharashtra, mentioning, O Krishna, by the puff of your breath, as you blow the dust from Radha's face, you take away the glories of other milkmaids. Chapter 1, Pada 225. So we have Hala coming in the 6th century and mentioning Radha. That means here is a concept that's floating around but not being personified, not being captured, not being described. Let us not forget for a single moment that our divinity in India is in a state of continuous improvement. And what I mean by improvement is not that the divine is improved, but the perception of the divine and what that embodiment of consensus means, where the people are concerned, that improves. So it's a rolling Magna Carta. Indian religion has always been a rolling Magna Carta that picks up as it moves along. There is no doubt that Jayadev belonged to Odisha, what is present Odisha. There was this appropriative tendency among Bengal for a couple of centuries when it thought no end of itself to go on appropriating all traditions. This is a disease that Tamils also expressed where the rest of India was concerned, South India was concerned, but a very, very Bengali response. I know I may be beaten up outside, but fact remains that spiritually, but let me divide the goods. While Jayadev would build the concept, the 2 early propagators of the Radha Krishna legend, one was Vidyapati of Mithila, that is from Mr. Jha's country, and the other was Chandidas from Bengal. So we have Bengal, Odisha, and Mithila sorting out its equations where a single character and a tale is concerned. We have absolutely no conflict. I don't know how much I would be able to say in Calcutta and survive, but fact remains, as a student of history, he belongs to Odisha, what is present Odisha, just like Chandidas belongs to Birbhum and Bengal, and it goes on. Incidentally, if you notice the timing, 12th century, India was in turmoil in the 12th century, and the West was in a state of dizziness, where Chauhan and Tomar and Rathors and others were fighting each other out. the East was in relative peace, and therefore you find this triangulation between Bengal, Mithila, Bihar, and Odisha. In any case, it doesn't matter. I'll tell you why it doesn't matter. Because he wrote in Sanskrit, number one. So Sanskrit was the governing language. And number two is the fact that both Odia and Bengali and Assamese all derived their language from Mithila. So in any case, in the 12th century, it's a retrospective argument put in for various odd reasons.